We will be evaluating President Bio's government in 2024, successes and challenges in governance, democracy, the economy and hopes for the country in the year 2025, among other things. And so this morning in the studios, we've just been joined by Alhaji Alpha Kanu, who is the presidential spokesman, and also Sidi Yayah Tunis, who is the National Public Security Secretary for the main opposition APC party. Good morning, gentlemen. It's always a pleasure.
Good morning, Samuel.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Elizabeth.
Good morning. Let's start off with Alpha Kanu. I know there's a lot to talk about with regards to the successes recorded, challenges, and prospects for 2025. But quickly help us, take us through, what do you think are the key pointers for the year under review?
Thank you very much. You see, in any governance development, you have what is called software development and hardware development. The hardware are the things we see, visible things. We see the bridges of Magbele and Ribi Bridge, which are now called Koblo Gulama and PC Alkali Modu III. We see also the conversion of 5 formal ferries into bridges today. We see the ferry at Tompari. The bridge is now under construction. The ferry at Mano, it's under construction. 5 of them at the same time. We also see, even close to home, the recent transformation of Lumley. The atmosphere around there, the visible things that you can see, the traffic lights, the partitioning on the road, the overhead bridges and all that, and of course the traffic lights. Then you see the transit terminal that brings some kind of order, the way people board and disembark into vehicles in this country. We see a lot of things happening. We also see very recently that the president and the government have all taken a love for sustainable energy in terms of changing the way we consume and produce energy. We're looking at how we can utilize the sun for solar energy. Recently, His Excellency the Vice President launched the construction of a 30-megawatt solar plant at at Newton. But at the same time, another 10 megawatts, plus an existing 6 megawatt, which is there, that will be energized, and that will be extended to 12. So on that particular day, the launching was for 52 megawatts, which the contractor promised will be finished within 12 months, which means that 52 megawatts of clean energy will be available, for which we will need no fuel, for which we will need no engine oil, we have no moving parts, for which we have no pollution, no depletion of the ozone layer. This is coming from the sun itself, 52 megawatts. And to know the impact of that, compare with the amount of money and time we spent in constructing Bumbuna hydroelectric, which produces 50 megawatts for us at peak level. In the dry season like so, it's 18 megawatts. And that cost almost $350 million US. Now, those 52 megawatts put together, they're not up to $50 million. So there is a change of approach, thinking outside the box. Use what you have. You see, I think the Lord Almighty did not hate us to put us here. He will not put you somewhere and not provide you the things that will make you be able to carry on with your life. He gave us abundant sun. Okay. But we did not realize that. We could have done this years ago, even right from the inception of the country itself. We could have done all that, but because we were thinking in pigeonhole things, i.e., we produce energy with generators, with fuel, heavy fuel and all that, and we have to import this. It brings in a lot of hardship on the economy. And when it is not available, we dip and black out. But now, thinking about the abundance of the energy that exists from the sun, in fact, scientists have estimated that the amount of energy that the sun gives us in 1 year, just 1 hour in the world, is enough to power the whole world for 1 year. So these are the things that we're now working on. Sustainable energy, coupled with, of course, the abundant number of rivers we have that will give us hydroelectric. So that is, but when you look at the software, I just talked about hardware.
Sure.
Software is policies. The first policy is when we had problems after the elections, the first approach of His Excellency the President is that let us resolve this thing among ourselves. He set up the tripartite. That is magnanimity. Not many leaders would do that. He's won an election. He will not initiate dialogue. That is good. Okay, the other software is the empowerment of women, the Giwi Act. The other software is what? Now the Child Rights Bill is on the floor. Yesterday we launched the Civic Education Festival for Sierra Leone in order to build and inculcate the idea of loving each other, respecting each other, respecting what we have, and being content with God, what God has given you. And also working on feed salon. That is software. That is working. It's not translated into hardware because we are producing food now in the country. So the president is doing what is called parallel programming, parallel processing. He's doing software on one side with one hand and hardware on the other side. So for me, I think the year has been great for us.
It is indeed visible to say that, yes, all of the pointers you've mentioned, to some extent, they are all around the place. You'll see them and all the rest. But how will you connect these pointers to the hardship and bread and butter issues that the people continue to face in Sierra Leone?
I am an advocate of self-reliance. When the weekend comes, in fact, after this program and what I have, the conference I have, I'm leaving, I'm going to Port Loko. I will be on my fields, the farms. I will be harvesting my food.
Do you own a farm as we speak?
Sorry?
Do you own a farm?
I do, several actually, rice farms. I still harvested some, I'm doing the others. So the self-reliance is what we were taught. You see, we grew up in the time where young Islamic Mohammedan boys used to sit around the fire in the evening to read the Quran when there was no light. We used the fire for that. They taught us self-reliance. When you don't have light, go get firewood and do it. When you go out into the field and do something. So if we all start inculcating that idea that God Almighty will not come from up there and bring food and put it on your table. He will show you what to do. He has shown us what to do. And he has given us the leaders who will guide us on how to do these things. And that is what President Bio himself is doing exactly. He has shown that he can go into the field himself. He's not afraid of putting his hand in the mud. He is doing fish farming. He's doing rice farming. He's doing vegetable farming and cash crop farming. He's doing everything for people to see. He doesn't really need to do that because he can afford to buy his bag of rice that is imported from China. But he wants the people to know that when you do it yourself, they have the possibility of reducing that. So he is encouraging us through Feed Salon. I hope when you finish, we're ending the festival tonight. That festival is not just only about civic education. It is also about teaching us self-reliance. Go out there, you will see in the stalls, you will see all sorts of varieties of food that are produced in this country and packaging that will surprise you that we have that capacity. Yesterday, the respected director of UNESCO for Central and West Africa came. And he was standing by me in the stalls. And he said, you know, his name was Paul something. He came from Bangui just to be here for that occasion. So when I arrived yesterday, I asked the taxi driver to pass by this place. So when I came here, it was all chaotic. That was yesterday, the day before evening. So I was surprised how they're going to hold a festival here. He said, but today I come here, it's a different place. It means people have capacity to work in this country. People know how to work in this country. What they need is encouragement, and that's coming from a white man. He said, I came here, and this place was chaotic. Everybody was running up and down trying to fix things. He said, but today, look at it. Finished and impressive. So for me, that gave me some kind of comfort to know that people recognize that we have the ability to look after ourselves. All you need is the impetus, the accelerator. And the accelerator in this case is President Julius Maada Bio. He has been doing that for us.
Okay. Alpha Khan will hold you there and then Oshari and Sidi Yayah Tunis. Sidi, you've listened keenly from Alpha Khan on what he has to say with regards to the software and hardwares of the Bio-led administration. In your estimation, where do you think we are? Do you think we are in the right trajectory as a nation to bring about the required changes?
I mean, thank you very much. I mean, you know, from the opposition point of view, I wouldn't come here, sit and entirely say everything is gloomy or everything is rosy. Of course, we've seen areas where we've noticed some amount of improvement. We see, you know, the government making effort to move towards industrialization. We see launching of factories here and there or processing plants here and there. We also see several efforts being made to, you know, expand our country internationally, whether it is through opening new missions here and there and all. So these are all, you can see these as positive steps for the future, not for the current circumstances that we face. That notwithstanding, I would say that we still experience many challenges as far as governance issues are concerned. If you take sector by sector, you'll notice that in every sector we continue to face enormous challenges. And I was just reading through the audit report, for example, and I decided to zero in on the health sector. And it will surprise you to see the many challenges that we face in that sector, to a point that I was reading just some of the major issues we face with our health facilities. For example, if you take our hospitals, it will still surprise you to know that in places like Kailan, for example, we're still facing issues of insufficient microscope, reagents, test kits, you know, those basic things that are supposed to keep those healthcare facilities running. You know, we even read in the report also issues around, you know, wards being closed because the septic tanks were full. So, you know, it became a hazard, you know, for patients to be admitted since the toilets were overflowing and all of those things, insufficient medication, you know, basic cleaning and all of that. We still face those, you know, problems in our health facilities, for example, across this country. And if you go to Kanu Hospital, which is our main referral hospital in the country, it is no different. You know, so whereas we speak about this hardware, software, these basic things that are supposed to address the basic needs of the people of this country are left, you know, unattended to by the government. And this is where we continue to raise concern as an opposition. You spoke a little bit about the rising prices of basic commodities. It is not so much just that. Our economy entirely continues to face enormous challenges. I was just reading the Freedom of Economic Index on Sierra Leone for 2023-2024. Our economy is considered repressed in every category that you can imagine. Inflation is still very high, with over 40%. We still have debt to GDP ratio over 80%. That is extremely high for our country. For 10 years, between 2007 to 2018, our debt as a country stood at 15 trillion, which is about 15 billion now, new loans. Between 2018 to 2023, that amount is about 40 billion or so. So it tells you how much indebted we are as a nation, and we cannot continue to grow our economy if we continue to be so highly indebted as a country. We are not able to make enough to service our social issues, to service our social problems, which is why we continue to face difficulties as a nation. If you take our exchange rate, our currency continues to devalue. So the purchasing power of the Leone continues to fall as against other economies. If you earn 10,000 Leone now for this week, what it will purchase you, and then you earn the same 10,000 Leone in the next week, it will be far less than what it will purchase you for this week. It tells you that the purchasing power of the Leone continues to fall. And so economically, we are in trouble. And I'll say this, for example, you know, for with all seriousness, and that is concerning for us as an opposition.
Okay.
You know, Honorable Alpha Khan talked about policies from the onset. You know, it is no hidden secret that most of the policies, as far as the economy concerned, this government is not working. When you look at their monetary policy, the de-dollarization did not work. The denomination of the Leone did not work. The issue about not having more than $10,000 withdrawn from the bank did not work. Go to the banks now, for example. We have experienced this every season. You go to the bank now, you want to withdraw money, the amount that you want to withdraw probably would not be available. They'll have to tell you, come back. So it tells you that something is not right. Whatever economic policies
but that situation is not far from what used to exist during the days of the APC.
It is
during
far.
festive periods, these are also the situation that we used to face. When you go to banks, they tell you what you want to withdraw.
We have never been in a situation.
We've been insane.
We have never been in a situation under the APC where you will go to the bank and you are not able to withdraw money. We have never been in a situation in the APC where it will take you 2 months before you receive your salary. We haven't. Look, it is all about management. Clearly, we know we are heavily reliant on minerals. We know we are heavily reliant, you know, on the mining sector to generate revenue. But we also know that, you know, we are not in control of the prices of the minerals that we, you know, export from here. The prices of iron ore, for example, fluctuates from time to time. We experienced that when we were in governance. Honorable Alpha Khan can attest to that. When we took over power in 2007, for example, in 2008, we were faced with the rise in commodity prices across the globe. It affected our economy enormously. But then we put in measures to control the pricing in this country.
Okay, so just to hold you there, so you know, just yesterday, I came across a post, which was on our page as well, wherein the World Bank cautioned Sierra Leone and other African countries to shift their focus from subsidies and excessive public spending to strengthen social safety nets and address structural inequalities. Funnily or sadly, this has been around for a very long time. Now there's a growing sentiment, you know, among citizens, and I'll say particularly the younger generation or younger people in Sierra Leone, that neither the ASLPP nor the APC can serve the people effectively. Now let's bring it down to the reality on ground. As a young person, you have a job which at the end of the day you're paid minimum wage, 800 leones, and you pay transportation every other day to get to your place of work. Take into consideration, you might even want to rent out. What's the cost of rent in Sierra Leone, where oftentimes people even charge in dollars, even though there's a policy against that? Take into consideration the cost of food. Take into consideration, maybe you want to use AfriGas. You have to consistently refill. Look at the cost of AfriGas in the market. We understand as well that, yes, there are global challenges with economy. There's global inflation and the likes. But then it also narrows down to countries without strong financial structures. When it happens, they crumble. Would you say, either of you, would you say these two parties have been able to address our conditions as Sierra Leoneans?
Thank you very much. Before I come to your specific point, let me just revert to my brother here. He talked about the health sector. But the things he mentioned are issues of attitude. They give you a job in the hospital to clean. It's not the government that has to clean it. You have cleaners there. The attitude is wrong. It's our own approach to how we deal with ourselves. Both governments have tried to handle that. When we were in the APC, on the very first day that President Ernest Koroma was inaugurated, the first policy he came up with was attitudinal change. We have to change our attitude towards everything else. But today, he just told us at that time, let's change our attitude without telling us how we can change our attitude. Now, President Bill, through Chernobyl, they have come with a strategy, how to change our attitude. The civic education, how you behave, where you are given a job, what you do. If you are expected to clean the bathroom in a hospital you're paid for, do it. It's your responsibility. So they have come with a strategy. President Koroma came with the idea, attitudinal change, but without showing us the method, how we're going to do that. So this president is giving us, leading the way through this. So I believe that these small things that I talked about, software, if we pay attention to those, they will help us. Now,
it's a year since that took place. I mean, it's a year now since the introduction of the civic education.
Yeah.
Do we see the benefits? Have we started reaping up fruit?
Well, civic education started with teaching civics at school. That was the first thing is that they produced textbooks to teach children. When we were in school, in primary school, things like that, there was a subject called civics. And we did that as part of your common entrance, NPSC, whatever you call it. You must know who the Minister of Health is, where he comes from. You must know who's the mayor of Freetown. You must know how you behave when you go to school, who the headmaster is and what they expect you to do. This is attitude. They teach you these things. It had fallen. President Koroma came with the idea, let's change our attitude. Good idea. But how do you guide people? Just throw it like that. Now this president is coming and saying that we're going to do that. So the first year of the civic education was education itself in the classroom. Now they've taken it out of the classroom. There is in fact a festival at the moment where we're going to showcase several strategies from each ministry, each sector, how we expect people to behave, to do things to make sure that government works and works for the people, and the people also have their responsibilities.
How does this go beyond the theories?
That's what we are doing at the moment. First, we launched it yesterday. Right now, they are holding workshops in the Miata Conference Hall with several experts and people with experience who are there to talk about how we are going to make this work. There is a handbook called the strategy that shows you what we are supposed to be doing. And we imbibe that, pass it on to our children and all that, and then we expect people to practicalize it. You see, you can take a horse to the river. We can't force it to drink. What the government does is to show you what to do and guide you how it can be done. You have to do it yourself. This is the issue. You see, I think I was reading something the other day where I read somebody said, when our children are 12 years old, I'm going to tell you how to live in life. So one of them got to 12 years, asked father, so father, you said you were going to show the strategy of life. He said, yes. He said, I want you to know this. He said, cows don't give milk. They don't. He said, how? He said, when you want the cow's milk, you take the pail, you wear your boots, walk through the mud, under the rain, under the sun, tie the cow's feet, go under there and milk it. Then you can get the milk from it. It means you have to do it. Cows don't give milk. They have milk. You want it, go get it. So this is the kind of thing we must do. You must know how to go there and get it. Government will show you how to go there. But that hand, if you touch them, for let you do them. And that's what I think is going to be the focus for this civic education. But there are several things that my young brother talked about here. He talks about the economy and that the money value is not, how do you measure the economy in the country, whether it's stable or it's not stable? You look at the exchange rate. Our exchange rate has been stable for the past 18 months at one point, almost 18 months. It hasn't moved. if the prices shift.
What's the current exchange rate as of today?
I think for the dollar, I think it's 2,300 or 2,300,000. I don't know.
I changed yesterday at 2,440.
Well, you know where you went. You went to somebody.
Within
you negotiate that. But that is the rate. Okay, I'm not a dealer. I'm not a businessman. I'm a politician. But I do know
that stability in estimation.
These are the statistics. It shows that it doesn't move. You changed yesterday. Where did you get
statistics in theory?
You have no statistics of when they say statistics, you measure data. It's data they get not from one person. Yours is a spurious data. It's an exceptional data. The normal data, the norm is 2-3. No, but you went there in a hurry. So they give you 2,450, so you are an experienced customer. The others are below that, but the mean is what we look at. You take the average, and that's what's happening. So the exchange rate has been stable. You look at the exchange rate. That has been stable for quite some time, and I think the government needs commendation for that also. You talked about the hardship in the country, that when we came to power, at the time we had, commodities had problems. And what did we do? We brought in some policies. It only affected Sierra Leone at that time. So we were able to buy in rice from private people, and then government gave it to people to sell, just to stabilize, right? You can't do that now, because the problem of the commodity prices is all over the world. And it affects everywhere, anywhere you go. The incumbent government in America just lost elections because of the inflation, because of the cost of commodities and all that, because of the supermarket prices of food and things. It's all over. He talks about our debt being heavy. But the biggest debtor per capita today, public debt, is America itself, who we depend upon.
You can't compare economy to that of the US.
I have to, because when you start looking at microcosms like ours, and then you try to make it build out of it, you know that this is a norm in economic management, in macroeconomic management.
Why don't we follow this analysis or comparison when it comes to the good things?
You just read a post that you read, what the World Bank was saying. What the World Bank is saying to African countries is, don't give any more subsidies. When you don't give subsidies, you bring hardship to your people. These are the people who create the situations for us. They advise us. We take this, you remove subsidies, the prices go up, and your people go in the street. This is what they are doing. You just read it. And we know what it is.
So then should we blame for our own problems?
Sorry?
Who then should we blame for our own problems?
We blame ourselves for our problems is because we have to become much more self-reliant. I just gave you an example of the energy. Excellency, the president just decided, let us use what we have in abundance. Now, for energy, we are going to depend on our water and the sunlight we have. We've
had water and sunlight for
because we didn't have President Bio at the time. Now we have him. He's thinking out of the box.
Is this his sixth term?
Sorry?
Is this his sixth year in his seat?
Sorry?
Is this his sixth year in office?
Yes.
So we couldn't figure out anything with the
had other priorities,
water and sunlight.
The priorities, you see, you cannot fix all the problems in one day.
Okay.
When he first came, his priority at the time was what? His priority was free quality education. And that has succeeded. When he came this time, a year ago, he launched his manifesto. And in that, he had the 5 game changers, not so? The 5 game changers was what? Feed saloon. That's not the only thing that we have to do in Sierra Leone. But then he says infrastructure, energy and all that, not so? And then he says industrialization, not so? And then technology and public service. So these are the things that he has put himself. You have 1,001 things that we need to fix. But if you chase too many rats, you won't catch any. So he has picked 5 rats. He's following those rats. And the biggest rat that he's chasing now is feed salon. And the second one is energy. And this is the time he's doing it. And you see that he's doing those things. You said there was sunlight before. But there was no President Bio at the time.
Okay.
Now he's here.
And the tangible benefits, what are they?
Benefits.
Yes, please.
Energy will be cheaper. If I tell you what the World Bank representative here told us, Mr. Amadou something, Bisogi or something like that, there, when he read his statement, he said, we have this regional cooperation. In fact, it's called, how do you say, it's called respite. The project is called respite. Respite means take a break from hardship, something like that. The project itself is called respite. renewable energy for Africa, or something like that. I don't know what it means anymore, the acronym. And that respite, they say, we're really going to give you respite. Now you are paying 20 cents a kilowatt hour. But when we finish this, you're going to have 3.5 cents per kilowatt hour for housing. That's the tangible.
So, should we now take the opinion of this World Bank expert,
yes, because they are financing
when it comes to this?
That's the reason why they're financing.
But you weren't also in agreement when I read what they just said, that they want to dictate how we should go about.
They can give you good policy. They can also give you policies that don't work for you, especially for the third world. Here in this world, we don't have industrialization. Not many people work. Lots of people depend on hand-to-mouth trading and all that. So if you keep raising prices, removing subsidies, it's going to hit them. In America, you can remove subsidies because everybody gets a good pay. They have industries, they have this, they have businesses. So yes, we take that. It works for them there in America. It will not work for us in Africa, especially Sierra Leone.
Okay.
So you take those things that are good, and then those that are not good, you discard them.
With that being said, let's usher in Sidi. Your closing thoughts is in just a few words because, of course, time is not in our favor. We're sorry about that. Yes.
As you close, yes, I would want you to also reply or respond to the scenario I painted before, wherein we still have the growing sentiments that neither the SLPP nor the APC can serve the people better.
I'm definitely coming there. I see Honorable Alpha Khan cleverly dodged that. The fact of the matter is our health sector, for example, problems goes way beyond cleaning. Even overhead lamps in our theaters are no longer available, and these are things that we left in place. Don't forget that we launched the free healthcare. We had to do hospitals, build new ones, rehabilitated old ones. So all of these facilities were in place when we left. So to now go and see that they've all disappeared to a point that we even have patients sleeping on the bare floor with hospitals not having bed, it goes beyond just cleaning. These are governance issues that are lacking. These are governance responsibilities that have not been delivered by the authorities that are responsible. Now, to answer your question, every government is always faced with a set of challenges, but it all depends on how the respective government go about addressing those challenges. Of course, when we were in power, we were faced with issues around Ebola, highs in prices of oil in the world market, high in prices of commodities that affected prices across. But we introduced measures, to help the economy. They were more us because we put in economic management policies place that was known as austerity. If you remember, the now government in opposition then, was provoking the APC for putting in measures. But the economic management policy then was just to be able to manage our expenditure, manage our excesses, so that whatever revenues we are able to generate will be able to service our social sectors, which is why we are able to still maintain the price of bag of rice at a level that your minimum wage will buy you a bag of rice, and you still have a huge amount of money left to be able to spend on other areas of your affairs. That is currently not the case. Your minimum wage will not even buy you a bag of rice. So ours is really focused always on addressing the social needs of the people of this country. What we see that are fundamental differences in policies when it comes to us and the current administration. They are more focused on what their ratings are on the international platform. That is why you see them focus more on what their ratings are on MCC score, what their ratings are on Transparency International, as opposed to really addressing the needs of the people of this country.
But these are as well bringing in the goodies.
They will care less.
They are as well bringing in the goodies.
Which goodies?
$400 million.
I mean, we are yet to experience that. I mean,
which is contingent on the support of the APC.
No. Let us even look at the free health, because Honorable Alpha Khan has spoken a lot about, priority there was the free quality. For me, that is, I'll say this, and it is not out of malice, that is probably one of the most policy dishonesty we continue to see, because education has never been free in this country. Government expenditure, total expenditure to education in this country is 30 million per child. 30 million per child for a year. Now you go to any parent and ask what their total education expenditure is for their child for a year. Then you see the difference. It will tell you that education has never been free. And we all see the many problems that we are facing. It has not been fixed, as Honorable has said. Go to the universities. You see now students going through us, going through Beke, but when they get to universities, they are not able to perform because we see the quality of basic and secondary education falling under this administration from year to year. So these are areas that we are really focused. If I go to energy, we pay car power $7 million every single month. That is far more expensive that we have ever spent on energy, even when we were running all of the machines that we had in this country.
I take them to be your closing courtesies. The fact is, we'll wish to continue this conversation. It's one that, of course, hinges on the lives and livelihoods of the people of this country. But nonetheless, we'll say many thanks to you, gentlemen, for your time. No, in just a few words. I think you've asked for same. In just a few words, please.
We left the country in austerity.
Are we still in austerity?
No, we're not.
Okay.
No, we're not in austerity.
I mean, the excessive spending is just so alarming that the World Bank...
Alpha Kanu, please.
It's concerning.
Government to declare austerity.
Our economy has never been considered repressed.
The government is not broke.
Alpha Khan.
Never repressed.
Alpha Khan, please. I want to say thank you so very much.
No, please.
Respectfully, thank you so very.
No, please. You talked about the goodies.
No, you. But you asked for
same.
same.
Then you talked about health. We just brought in 136 million into health, and another JICA hospital for 16 million. We built the hospital.
Are they reflecting?
Yes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
President Bill just launched
education.
President Bill just launched a hospital at...
Thank you so very much. Thank you so much.
President Bill launched a hospital at Lumley that he called a center of excellence for children. Go there at night.
This conversation will continue.
It is pitch dark, no electricity.
This conversation will continue, gentlemen. We appreciate it so very much for your time. This morning we've been talking to Dr. Alpha Khan and also Sidi Yayah Tunis.